Okay, welcome back everyone and with our online friends. I'll be your host for the events. Today's topic is post-pandemic, the next step for international exchanges, Taiwan and Singapore Exchange Forum. So to start with, I would like to thank you, all of you, for coming here to join us. In the very beginning, with great honor, I would like to introduce our participants here today. Our representative of Art Space, Da Kun from VT Art Salon, Taiwan. Yeah. Okay. And Moses Tan from Starch, Singapore. Please give a wave. Okay. And two independent curators, Chen Nianting and Jaxton Su. Hello. Okay, so firstly, Da Kun is one of 8 VT Art Salon co-founders. Now he is the senior curator and the art director of Taiwan Contemporary Cultural Lab. He has successfully served as curators for many exhibitions, like Republic Without People, won the Jury Special Award for the 10th Taixing Arts Awards, the Asia Anarchy Alliance held in Tokyo Wondersite and Taipei Guangdu Museum for Fine Arts, Mori Art Museum Tokyo, Biennial of Digital Imagination in Masao, and also the 13th Guangzhou Biennial. Yeah, and also our distinguished guest, Moses, would you please give us a wave?
Hi.
Hello. Moses is the founder of the Starch from Singapore, also have exhibited across many countries, such as great projects in Singapore for a center for contemporary Asian art in Australia, and Hidden Space in Hong Kong. Also, Indiana University in the USA, in Dialogue in Germany, completed the Equal Justice Residency at Santa Fe Art in the USA in 2018. So here for now, we are very delighted to invite Taiwanese curator Chen Nianting and Singapore curator Jaxton Su. Both of them are independent curators and visual artists. So they also hold an MA degree from the Glasgow School of Art in the UK. So Nianting, would you please give us a wave? Hi. Hey, she is now currently pursuing her PhD in art at the Liverpool School of Art and Design. She works across Asia and the UK, drawing links between the cultural, historical, political, and geographical of various regions in Asia, such as South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. And Jaxton. Yeah, Jaxton is interested in bridging the gap between current social issues through contemporary art and advocating artists as citizens of the agency. Now, his notable curatorial projects include the Unsettled Dust, touring Asian Film Festival, Gongshan Contemporary Art Warehouse International Exchange Program, and Power Play, a biennial contemporary art festival in Singapore. Yeah, so I would like to briefly introduce the whole process of the forum. There's no QA between each section, so but you could hold your thoughts until the last session. We will have the interactive discussion. Okay, so to begin with the first part, the two curators will introduce Taiwan and Singapore exchange program. The next session, Da Kun will introduce VTR Salon and share with us recent activities, programs, talk about the culture. And the third part will be Moses will talk about the above mentioned topics as well. Okay. And the end of the event at 4 p.m., we will leave our curators and directors, founders to discuss cultivating young artists, art workers, and curators in the art space and discuss all the possibilities of future cooperation. So, due to this, the Taiwan and Singapore exchange program, we are honored to have this online forum today to get to know each other, even in art, culture, but all the related events. So now let's get on the business. Okay, I will hand it over to our two curators. They are going to share with us about the exchange programs. So now let's welcome Nian Ting. Okay, Nian Ting first. Okay,
yes, thank you.
Let's welcome Nian Ting.
Yeah, and I will introduce myself and with Jaxton. And I with Jaxton, we cooperate over 5 years, and yeah, like inside we meet each other at Glasgow School of Art as we are the master student, and then after we graduate, we will keep this very how to say, it's just like an coincidence. So we also share the same school studio, and then we keep our curatorial practice together even we graduate. Yeah, so after we move back to the Asia, we keep contact with Jaxton, and we think about if we can be like an Asia team. And our team sometimes not just Jaxton with I, and it's also with like our South Korea, Japan, and Thai artistic friend together to do something like we are just like a team. But this team is for quite freestyle. So it means every cases is depend on how we interesting, how we try to development, how much. Yeah, and this time is Jaxton and I, our Taiwan and Singapore exchange program. And this program is start from I think it's 2020. Yeah, and it's before the COVID-19. But we at that moment we think about how to provide the Singapore and the Taiwan artists the new perspective. It's just now, and particularly is in the different generations, like perspective or opinion. So it's like it's time to provide this kind of new opinion to two countries. So it's like our beginning of the idea. Yeah, and then after that we had COVID-19 until now. So we changed the strategy. We not just like to focus on about this project about objects. We also move to like use the image to explain or express about object. And this object is about like everyday life. Like as I know, like Singapore and Taiwan, we have a familiar culture, even sometimes with the similar history happened. Yeah, so we think like some of the objects maybe from Singaporean and from Taiwanese is very familiar, but maybe from a different history, different the everyday life using, so have a different meaning. So it's like this meaning from the beginning, maybe it's just from the function, but after the culture and the life exchange, so it's become the meaning, like maybe have like a double meaning. So it's like our beginning of the idea, like we try to make this exhibition, and so that's why we call this exhibition name is a unsettled assortment of mysterious objects about the exhibition. Yeah, but we also think about, because this exhibition is happened in Taiwan from last year December until now, and today is the last day of our Taiwanese exhibition. Yeah, and we also make the like a booklet and the exhibition carton, and also the stick with the artists their object every sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Yeah, so every artist we use their object to make the stick to share to someone just visited VT to can get this like a souvenir. And in this situation, like we know not everyone may be happy or willing to visit like a physical exhibition. So our exhibition also share like today we use the online meeting, and also we make the exhibition trailer, and also the online tour guide for every people. It's not just in Taiwan, even in Singapore, in anywhere. And now I will just quickly share the screen to talk about like what I said. Sorry, In, can I share my screen because they lock my... required.
Uh,
Okay, I have to make you co-host. I have made.
Okay.
Because everyone can see the YouTube channel. And I will just quickly play the exhibition trailer for everyone can see it. So in this exhibition, we not just only have the exhibition part, we also have like a artist talk, and we invited the Taiwanese famous artist Li Mingxue to join our talking, because Mingxue, he also focused on his artistic practice in object, everyday life's object. So far Mingxue artist, and he also he also teach in university, so he know how to like communicate with the young artists very well. So he encourage us, every artist and participating, even curator and artist, to deeply talk about the object in the contemporary art life. Yeah, and we'll just close the. And this exchange, Taiwan and Singapore exchange program, we invited 10 artists, 5 Taiwanese artists and 5 Singapore artists to create their new work. So in this exhibition, in this project, because we have about 2 years to participate, to invite everyone participate. So every month we invited all of artists to have online meeting, Zoom meeting, to talk about their each process of new artwork. Yeah, and also like because in this time exchange program, we couldn't just directly fly to each country, so we just keep contact using the internet way to keep connection, and also to support each artist to find some of object, or like we try to create the different meaning of object in Taiwan and Singapore. Yeah, so in this part, can Jaxton to help me to keep explain about this part, and also think about like for this year in June we have an exhibition in Singapore, and do you have any expect for their curator this part?
Sure, thank you, Yan-Ting. So she has mentioned, she has made a good introduction of what our project is about. So actually we took like 2 years to realize it, because there were many challenges we faced along the way, like trying to secure funding and venue support to make this project work. And we are also trying to support as many young artists as we can for this project to go about with the exchange. So yeah, we need the grant support. So we are very happy that BT Art Salon and Starch, Moses from Starch has agreed to support us with the venue. Thank you so much. And so for this project, as Yan-Ting has mentioned, we have to change the format because the pandemic hit and we can't really travel, which was the initial plan. We wanted to fly artists over and experience the space physically, and also network and exchange idea face to face, but it's different now. So a lot of things were done on Zoom meetings, maybe WhatsApp call, WhatsApp message. Yeah. So in the various Zoom meetings with the artists, we tried to encourage them to share their ideas, exchange their different ideas, and hoping that we will inspire one another. Okay, even us as event curators, we learn a lot from the artists as well as they share about their practice and their works. So the challenges we faced include language barrier because Singaporean artists were not that proficient in speaking Mandarin, and vice versa for the Taiwan side. So we will have to go through maybe translation or maybe speaking at the slowest pace to overcome this. And also maybe the shipment of works. So because large scale works was a bit difficult because we have limited grants, and so we have to negotiate with our artists what's the best and most cost-effective way to present their works, and some of them maybe shift to change media to maybe photography or video art. So for this exchange project, we are very happy to be able to present it in both countries physically, because Nian Ting is still able to execute it with the team from Taiwan side in PT Art Salon, and in June we will be doing it in Singapore at presented at Starch, and we would like to express our heartfelt thanks to Moses, who very quickly agreed to support our project and also participate in our program in the talk today. So it will be in June, and hopefully Nian Ting and the Taiwan team is able to fly over. Because unlike Nian Ting, I'm mostly working independently here in Singapore without a team. So, but if situation requires because of the pandemic, maybe I would have to gather a team together as well. And the space will be quite interesting because Starch is quite different from PT Art Salon. It's more of an industrial building within an industrial area with high ceiling and 2 levels. So it will be interesting to see how the works will turn out in that space. Hopefully, hopefully it will all work out well. We are also hoping that maybe artists might have a different view of their current artwork when they see the space, and then they could also be inspired to think about a different way, a more unique way to present their works. So we would try to discuss with the artists through more Zoom meetings before June, so quite some months away. So hopefully it will present a different experience for the Singapore exhibition.
Okay, thank you, Nian Ting and Jaxton. We look forward for the exhibition happen in Starch. Okay, and I have to complain. One thing is that I didn't get the stickers, the cutie stickers. Okay, so let's move on to the next part. We are pleased to invite Daquan and Moses to share with us recent programs and strategies under pandemics, the current situation of arts and culture, both Taiwan and Singapore. So we will begin with Taiwan's part, then Singapore later. So let's welcome Daquan to give the address for us. Hello, Daquan. Hi, Daquan. Yes.
Hello. All right, I'm sharing my screening so far. Okay, could you share my? Could you all see my screen sharing? Cool.
Yes.
All right. I think VTR Salon is quite unique space in Taiwan, and we are started has a kind of long-term history, things like middle 19th, yeah. And at the beginning, it's just an artist group, yeah. And since like 2006, then finally we find our own space in the right next to the any other important alternative space, IT Park, and district, that area. So, but it's not the really long story I want to share with you for today, because today we are more focused on like how we can fit up the pandemic situation and how the COVID changed our daily life, and as an artist or curator or human being, how we can respond it, and how we can after the post-19 COVID era, then how we can to meet with it. So I will very briefly to share the VTR salons founding members. Yeah, for example, we are 8 main key members, and they are all artists or curators, and also we have like more than 14 investments, and comments from the art field. And this is kind of like a very brief introduction, and also I would like to share our space and our main missions with you, and also introduction our projects. And then so on, I would like to share different things what we done for have been done for the pandemic things. So this is 8 persons, 8 members. Like we are as a founding group, and mainly we give this space like key directions, and also we have many few kind of art lovers, or they are supporting us, yeah, from the really beginning. And also we have a very nice and lovely workers, such like Xinyu and Wang Yin. They helping us to manage like everyday maintenance, and make us the function like very on track. So Yao Ruizhong, yeah, is a really important artist. I don't think I need to contact in this few pages and very, this to spend too much time. And Chen Wenqi, yeah, then Tu Weizhen and Shang Hu, and Howard Chen, yeah, and this is me, and Shu Huiyu and Isa Ho. Yeah, she's the only female members in our founding members. Yeah, and this is our space that we are located in the Zhongshan district in the basement. And very interesting is now from those latest 2 pictures, left side is our old space, and the right side is the currently space. But interesting is because the rental fee is quite high, and in Taiwan, so we all can afford is a basement. But the new space is really kind of lucky, since we moved to this space in 2011. Yeah. Then at that moment, we decided to build this space as our base, and to support the Taiwan contemporary art field, and to support the young artists, and do things what we can do. So with this space, then we can provide a space for introduction among the artists, and become a hub to do the international exchange projects, and also provides different cultural activities in this field. And so since many years, we started to do many international projects. And in these 10 years, actually, there's 2 important projects we are doing right now, yeah, and still conducted. One is the Island Hub project, and the other one is the United States. And now on, I will briefly to share these two concepts to all of you and the audience online. So the island hopping project actually that's the based on the World War II and the United States and Japan, and they are fighting each other. But in the geography, we think the island chains that can become a really important kind of stage. Let the artists or these island chains, countries or the cities, we all face the same war matters and historical background. And so start from 2017 and the first artist, and we invited our project to invited to from Philippines, and at that time we bring the Taiwan artists to Philippine Black Arts Museum, and also to cooperate with Patrick De Forest, which is a very well-known curators among the Asia or even the international worldwide. Then at the beginning, actually, we let the Filipino artists come over to BT first. Then second years, we bring the Taiwan artists to there, and of course, during that time, and we have a lot of sort of like a room meetings or online things. But at that time, it's before the pandemic, so we are really luckily, and we got the budgets, and we can bring the Taiwan artists go to Philippines, to Manila. Then at that time, and all the artists, because the White Arts Museum is a third floor buildings, and it's located in the UP University, Philippine University, and it's a kind of historical things. And after that, actually, we also did the online forum for this island hopping conference, and that's we done in the last year. And because at that time the pandemic started, so we couldn't do this project, we couldn't move on. So at the end, we decided to do this conference. So we invited different curator and among the all island trends. So, and at that time we have two sessions, including the Kim Tring-Di from MMCA Seoul, and he's the chief curator over there, and Katsumi Toyoyama Sensei, she's the Okinawa Archive Museum's researchers, and with the Nobu Takamori, really talented curator in Taiwan, and Yao Rui Zhong and me, and we both participate in these forums. Yeah. Then, and the session 2, we invited different, including like Ruiz Ho and Ade Damawan from Guadalupe and TASA, and also from the Philippines. Then Shu Huiyu is one of our members, and he's also did very interesting project how to do the rotate performance things, and for the future cinema and exhibition body, all those kind of things. Yeah. So during these two sessions, forums, actually, we trying to bring the different thoughts, including the performance art and the visual art, and how we can bring the audience different mind, instead of like archiving or online exhibitions. Yeah, because the online exhibition actually, and it's not really, of course, that's any other way we can bring the artwork, or we can share through this kind of channel to the audience, but that's not a really physical feelings. So maybe we can discuss this part later on, because I believe both of us or every participant today, we all feel after these 2 years, and we have so many these kind of online forums. But what is our goal, or what did us really want to beyond that? What is, I think I just raised this question first, and maybe later on we can have some other discussions. Okay, then this is any other projects for BTR Salon, and we always contacted, start from 2014, called United States, because Taiwan is a really united or unit countries or space, in the whole world. And according to art history, actually all the artists always want to go to New York, such like New York, London, or Paris, this kind of big hub of the contemporary platforms. But we bring different thoughts, because we think we should bring our own story or our statement to share it with our friends or some other place very similar like Taiwan. So that's why we go to different place, for example, like Czech Republic, Malaysia, Mexico, and Netherlands, and even Georgia and Luxembourg. So this series actually is kind of different approach. Of course we can have bring the Taiwan artists go to New York, go to London or Paris, but instead of that, what is other platform, or what is can be any other dialogue we can create through each others. So this is different thoughts, and so for this part we are kindly sharing all different projects to. And for example, this is the first one we started in Mexico, and we bring the Taiwan artists, and at the end, this project has any other conducted project, and also back to Taiwan to have exhibition. So this is what we done before, for the photography exhibitions, and and then moved to Malaysia in 2016. So during that time, I think I haven't really go to Malaysia, but the other members from BT, they went there, and they also did a lot of interesting exchange and even workshop and so on over there. And for the Netherlands projects, we cooperation with the a group, a magazine, photography magazines. So at that time, I remember we do the kind of open call selections that the young Taiwan artists and young photographers, they can submit their work. And after they added from the group magazine, and it came over to here, they have a face-to-face, two-face interview. Then they select the few artists, their work can be printed on the magazines, and of course a physical exhibition in BTR Salon at that time. So this is what we've done, and for different other projects. And the other project is we work with the 3 years project with the Munich. It's called apartment diocese. That's the, I think that's in Chinese it's called 艺术公寓. Yeah, this is also a space. Yeah, the apartment of art. Yeah, then it's in the really interesting place. It's a right center in Munich, and next to an important art museum called Hans-Stock-Krupp. Yeah. Then for 3 years projects, we did like 6 exhibition and 8 solo exhibition, and it kind of residency exchange as well. So we bring Wu Chanzhen, Shu Huiyu, and Yuan Guangmi, He Mengjuan, Lin Weilong, Wang Deyu. Yeah, we did many exchange, yeah, for this kind of dialogue. So this is the exhibition view we done over on 2 sides. Yeah, and the German artists and they are 2 groups, and they come over to here. Then in 2016, also Alexandra and Sophie, they came over to Taiwan. And we also did the physical publication called Battery View. Yeah, this kind of like BT's it's called 非常评论, and we invited like a young curator or art critic. Yeah, they like each month, and we bring this different kind of soul from this young critic. Yeah. So yeah, so this is what I'm trying to share with you for today. Yeah. And for other things, I think maybe we can discuss for the pandemic later on. Okay.
Okay, thanks for Dr. provide us valuable information. The endeavors of cross-cultural dialogues bring the points up to expand our perspectives on the relationship between people and cultural values, also among the world. So yes, and Moses, could you please share yours with us? Yeah, let's welcome Moses.
Right, thank you. So I'm going to quickly share screen for my site. I'm so sorry, it's really, it's the case. Can you see this? All right, so I think I'll just talk about Starch right now first, just going through it. And for Starch, we're really young, so we only just passed our 1-year birthday about like a week back. And we started during the pandemic. As a space, we sort of like this was like something that was born out of the fact that like my parents own it, and they could offer it to people rent-free, which is why when it was offered, I decided, why not let's turn it into a space for people to play with, to experiment. And with that, which is why I think like it's in the industrial building, because they are contractors, they need space to store things, to make, etc., which is also, I thought it was an interesting location. Plus the fact that the physicality of it is that the height is like 5.63 meters, which is helpful for anyone that wants to play with height in terms of their work and etc. The space itself is not super large, but it's big enough for people to play with. And then when I say play, it's just because I really feel that as an artist, I really enjoy when people play and as artists play or even experiment. So yeah, so actually it started in December 2020. But actually our first show happened only in end January 2021, just because at first, the first show we did was actually called Discontent, which is this show. And for Discontent, it was actually working with a group of young graduates from fine arts. We wanted to find a way to sort of get them to center themselves in the arts, to sort of find a footing in it, to start thinking about how do you make exhibitions, how do you start being an artist. And for this, it was a series of workshops which was very informal. So we had like a workshop about gossiping, for example, what's gossip, and from gossiping, what happens, and then we had a karaoke session. We also had workshops looking at informal like knowledge, which is like zine making. We got them to sort of play with like the idea of writing, for example. So the exhibition itself then like was the first thing that culminated in this. Sorry, let me rephrase. The whole exhibition was the one that kickstarted the space itself. We decided to let it be the first opening show, and also we gave them the space to play with 2 months earlier. So the artists will actually go in and we just pass them the key. They can enter the space for December and January of that year, and they could just like go in, play with anything. We provided them with Wi-Fi, with a table, etc. And it was just a bare empty space first, and later on, we also started collecting things for people to display. So as a space itself, we also started thinking about how do we provide equipment, for example. So I had my own equipment like projectors, etc. But some of this, which you can see in the image itself, like the pedestals, the trestles, everything was donated. So it's just a matter of collecting it. So as a space, we also decided to just collect all these things so that people can use them for displays, just so they don't have to spend too much money on it. So it's a way of us trying to support young practicing artists further with actually providing the like actual resources. So like speakers, for example, etc. Everything was donated. It's just a matter of finding a van or a lorry to pick them all up. So yes, and then also it became a space where I started sharing with those who were affected during the pandemic. So for this was actually the master's students from the Fine Arts program in LaSalle. And what happened during the period of time was that they had no grad show. And I think there was a lot of issues. The school couldn't handle a physical grad show for them. So what I did was I approached the master's students. I also approached the BA students to ask them whether they wanted space. And we worked with them to sort of like have to stage exhibitions for 2 months. So to just backtrack a little bit, for Starch, what we offer is a full calendar month for each artist for engagement to come in. They can decide how long they want to install, how long they want to de-install, how long they want for the exhibition, and they can also decide what they want to do. Like it does not even need to be an exhibition, for example, which I'll show you an example later. So for this one, which is actually the master students, like they came in and we just experimented together. So like someone wanted to build a salt circle on the floor. We're like, let's do it. Let's just play with it. So it was actually us going around providing labor to find ways to do that, to make sure that things can be done, whatever like sort of like imagination they had for their artwork can be realized. And for this event also, we decided because it was best at night. And I think if, from the previous images, you might have seen that for the space itself, the windows are very large. So for projection work, sometimes it doesn't work the best. So we opened the show till like 10:30 p.m. on that day itself. So we had extended hours for them to play with so that people can come in and view the works. They can come in and chill. So we provided like bean bags. And these bean bags are from NTU Center for Contemporary Art. They were selling it away after they closed the exhibition space. So we bought them, we put it in the space so people can chill on it. And yes, so besides that, also one thing that we do is we don't announce shows earlier, just because like we tend to we want to be generous in a way where if say for example someone needs to cancel, then we can actually put up a programming quickly. So one of the months actually there was the last minute cancellation, and we decided let's have an open studio. So we invited even like those who are practicing young artists. Like we had one who was still a student, and a few who just graduated, and we gave them the space to work in for a whole month, where for 2 weeks they could play with anything, they could make anything, they can present or think of ways to present their own research. And then the second 2 months of that month, second 2 weeks of that month itself, they had an open studio. So this is actually one of the open studio sessions we had, where artists who have maybe not played with the space before or have not like thought about how to install an exhibition, who come in and learn how to install or learn how to pick up or how to even set up things on their own. Then one of the things that also we provided was space for a residency. So like for us, it's really like we try to be as flexible as possible. Like you can do anything you want. Like just let us know, we provide it. So this was one where there were two performers. One of them was also a visual artist. Like they were interested in playing in the space to sort of think about sort of the idea of the distance and touch. So what happened was we gave them the full month, passed them the key. They went in. They had a residency of their own, so they just went in to play, like to sort of like an experiment every day, and then they presented a performance that was quite experimental and sort of like rather interesting because they're actually playing badminton in the space itself. And this happened for a weekend itself for that month. So similar, this it's a combination of like the performance plus also actually visuals generated through AI, if I'm not wrong. And another one that we did also in the space. So like I was counting just now that it was like, oh no, how many have we done? In total, we have done so far 10 exhibitions, 1 residency, 1 open studios, and it's just also because like we're giving out months, so it's easier and it's like we have like racked up the numbers that way. In any case, for this show, which is called Inheritance of Parts, we actually gave it out to people who were from the performing arts side instead. So this were theatre makers, people who are in theatre. I had Irfan Kasman, I had like Eric who does video. We also had the designer come in. So this was actually this first time where a lot of them were not have not done exhibitions before, and it was their first time presenting an exhibition itself. So so for me, it's also as a space, how do we allow for people to play, to experiment, to come in from different fields so that they can see how to stage an exhibition, and perhaps from there on also see if there's any added value back in their own practice in their own respective ways. And I'm sorry if I'm speaking too quickly. I hope that's okay. Yeah, and so just also to show, this was yeah, that the clip itself was just a very brief, we call it an activation where the performers actually performed. It was actually based off a script, and from the script itself, they performed a song as part of the activation, which we invited audiences to come in to be with us for an evening. This is the next show that we also allow. So like as I mentioned, as a space, we're very flexible where on one hand, either we come in and help you curate, or we can help you install. But on the other hand, also it can be as easy as we pass you the key and you can do anything you want. So for this show, which was curated by Bernie, they needed a space, and all I did was actually really pass them the key. We only like provided the wall text printing and all that, and they settled everything on their own. They did everything on their own. They installed on their own, and it was a really also beautiful show. And also for us, also as a space, because it's not a conventional gallery space, we do enjoy when artists challenge it. So for this month, we're just like sort of imagining in an industrial space, if we turn the space to look like it's a construction site, what happens? So this was an exhibition that I curated with 2 artists who are looking at locations like different construction sites itself. And also I think one of them was interested in the idea of like advertisements, etc. The other was interested in how like different buildings are covered up when construction site is happening. What are we hiding, for example? So she also brought in like the sound barriers from the construction sites, brought it into the space. The other artists also brought in the hoardings and all that, put it up and all that as an installation. And so the last month before this, we just hosted an award, which was actually the Chan Davis Art Prize from LaSalle. And this is just a video that I made for them, which also for us is also sort of how do we help further? Can we maybe do other kinds of labor? So like for myself, because I do know how to do some video editing, so we edited a video for them as part of the space to give them as a present in a way to also promote on social media.
We chose the title Sin because of the synergistic elements of the foreign dance art. So, conceptualizing my work is exposed to industrial
Yeah, and also one other thing that we did also for Art Week was instead of just staying as such, like I myself also as a co-creator with another friend of mine, we decided to just branch out to a different space. So we rented sort of like co-working space to build an exhibition that I thought was just wanted to share a little bit about it also because we were thinking about how do we create alternative school systems or alternative art education systems, and with that it was a project where we had an exhibition at the end of it. It's still ongoing now, but it's just looking at how similarly as I mentioned, like we thought about like ideas of like gossiping, and from gossiping how do you think about like how do you actually heal from that. So it was through a karaoke session, and then we also had a session where we actually got them to make school logos, for example, and etc. So I'm sorry, am I running out of time? Is there enough time? Or
yeah, there's still have 8 minutes.
okay, thank you.
So just keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so this is just a documentation of the exhibition also that we did. So this is sort of in a way where I was also imagining how besides Starch as an as people, as energies, how can we also find spaces somewhere else to curate and exhibit. So for that exhibition also one of the things that happened was we collaborated with another space in Hong Kong, Hidden Space, where we actually also did workshops, for example. So for them, they actually started doing a board game workshop with our artists and with ourselves also, and it was actually all online. And just also very briefly at the end, let's just talk about that. We just opened the show, it opens today, and it's going on for 3 weekends before it closes, and then there's the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So so as part of Starch, I guess at the end of the day for us is we've been like trying our best to sort of negotiate what happens. So say for example, we had to constantly shift schedules, and we made it such that we try our best to not set everything too much in stone, so that we try to shift it if like say a lockdown happens again, and then what do? Can we shift it, for example, and then still give the artists that we promised enough time to still do something they want. And the other part is also going to, like another strategy that we did was to go into digital, where we started branching out, finding ways to support them through maybe video making, for example, to promote their shows better, to promote their practices better, to find like other platforms to help them out. So at the end of the day also for us, it's also like when we want to sort of support artists or support young practitioners And when I say young, also sometimes also I'm very critical that it's not only about the age or the numerical age, but also in the sense like thinking about like say they are young in terms of their practice, like they could like be like in their mid-30s or 40s and like they just started out, for example. And for us also, it's just being very critical that we also try to support all this. And how do we support it? How do we make sure that we find ways or languages to not alienate them, for example? So yes, so that's Starch, and that's the strategies that we've done. So yes, thank you so much.
Hello, thank you. Well, thank Moses. Thank you for your informative sharing. Yeah, I really appreciate those artworks. Really make me feel go into the aesthetics of art. Okay, and basically there's something in common with BT, like it's also the white box space, and there are a lot of experimental exhibitions. Starch also welcome students or young artists to have the chances to bring up more exciting events in the field of art. Okay, so let's move on the last section. Okay, under the pandemic, I believe both Taiwan and Singapore are undergoing some of the same challenges. We will use the following time to discuss what possibilities could be like for both parties, and for sure looking for cooperations in future events. So now I will leave the stage to you all. So please feel free to bring out anything or any ideas that you would like to talk about. Okay, anyone there who want to share with us first? No one? And I will call someone to be the first person to share with us. Okay? Okay, let's select. Okay, Dakun. Let's welcome Dakun.
Yeah. So actually, I just want to hear from, Nian Ting or Jaxton, because both of you are like young curators, and my question is, after this pandemic started and until to now so far, because we already explained like Alpha and Delta, and now Omicrons, different kind of mutant virus, and how is your really hope, and how we can, because of course, like physically, we can do the art exchange, and we can do the exhibition, we can bring the artists to both sides. That's the main goal that we're trying to combat it. Yeah, but in case, this kind of situation will be, continue for a few months or something else like that, and what is your expectations, for the art space, what we can provide, what we can do? Yeah, this is what, my personal question to both of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Daquan's question. And for Daquan's question, I also can share my personal experience, and those experience also connect with Jaxton, because last year I with Jaxton, we had several online screening and online exhibition, and in different countries. For example, we did in Liverpool Light Night, and also in Malaysia Jaxton Art Festival, and we have like a media art exhibition, and it's without the physical part, because at that moment in the UK and Malaysia it's locked down. Yeah, so the organizer invited us and encouraged us to just show absolutely online exhibition. And I also very thankful for the Taiwanese government and also Singapore government, because they also provide the special funding for during the pandemic situation. So it means we are lucky, because the both government is very, very flexible to create the new funding, not just for the old school style. Yeah, so we quite complete this online exhibition, but also have the same problem. It's about like for the audience, for the people to enjoy the exhibition, what's different between physical and visual online way. Yeah, so for my personal experience, some of people they not mind to go to visit physical exhibition, but they are willing to go for online exhibition. So it's for me, it's a new marketing or like a new opportunity to share the new people to potential people to join the exhibition, particularly in the no matter new media or like a internet. Even for now, it's very popular. We call like NFT. I'm not sure it makes sense or not, but for me, it's like they have a new people who interested about art. So it's a new chance. But also we have to go back to the old question is about how about the people they have like a regular visited exhibition. Those people, to be honest, until now, I think they still feel like uncomfortable for online with the from physical change to the online way. So for me, I think like a recent half year, because Taiwanese pandemic situation is going well, so the government allow we can open for the physical exhibition. So I saw those people, they are very happy to have like a face-to-face to see the real artwork, and the face-to-face with artists to have like artist talk. Yeah, so it's very dependent on the person, but I think because we couldn't change the history in the past, so we only can see like in the future, how can we make two different audience or two different ideas can combine together and in a new situation. Yeah, so it's my opinion. So how about Jaxton?
Okay, so I think it's all about being flexible, because as artists or as curators who work independently, we are already facing a lot of challenges. I mean, each country has their own unique set of challenges, like trying to sustain, trying to search for more opportunities, or trying to make a project work with funding, with venue, with partnerships and all that. So as Yan Ting has mentioned, we were actually working not just for this project for the objects exhibition, the Taiwan-Singapore exchange. We were also working on a couple of other projects during the pandemic itself. The Down the Melting Pot, which was screened at Georgetown Festival, and also Cyber Labyrinth, that was originally intended to be held physically at Light Night Liverpool. The most direct approach was to shift things online, but I guess online there are many different ways to explore and experiment with as well. For Cyber Labyrinth, we tried to collaborate with a company that specialized in immersive virtual experience, Extrality, a company from Singapore, and then we tried to, because initially the idea was to present an exhibition, a group exhibition, a new media exhibition in a cyber cafe, on actual computers, and try to present art in a different kind of setting rather than a typical white cube space. So we shifted this idea to online, and we worked with Extrality to create this immersive virtual space where people can still experience that cyber cafe setting, and they navigate around like they are playing a game. So I guess in this pandemic situation, we can always brainstorm for new ways and new interesting ways to still present works. Of course, the online experience is different, but there would be a different set of audience. Maybe some audiences just prefer to experience artwork at home. But personally, of course, when I experience artwork, I prefer to experience it physically. But I think it can still happen, and networking is very important. So it's important to get to know people in the arts industry from other countries as well. So in the event if traveling is not possible, things can still happen. For example, we were supposed to do Down the Melting Pot in Korea as well, in Seoul. at the exhibition at Alternate Space Loop, but we couldn't be there, so we contacted our Korean friends. So we made some Korean friends when we were studying in Glasgow School of Art, and they were very helpful regarding that. They helped us set up, and we just communicated via Zoom remotely, and then we were happy that the exhibition still managed to happen physically. So I guess another strategy for this is networking. So if artists can continue to keep in touch with one another, overseas collaborations and to venture overseas is still possible. Yeah, that's one of the other strategies.
And I also have a question. I would invite Moses and Dakun to ask about question. Yeah, and my question is about, because during the pandemic, and as I know, before Jaxton told me, many Singapore or individual art space or alternative art space was closed. Some of reason is because of the pandemic, some of reason is because maybe the government cut the funding. So some of just recently, many quite famous and have like long histories art space was closed in Singapore. So I also curious about in Taiwan is have this kind of phenomenon or like this kind of something will happen or not. And also I will ask Moses to maybe from your perspective to share your knowledge about this situation. Sorry, it's two questions.
Dakun, you want to go first?
You go first.
Oh.
Yeah, you.
Okay, so I think like as I've mentioned that for such because it started during the pandemic. On one hand, it came about like it was just very timely that some of the spaces were closing, and then we just decided to start something. And it happened also at the moment when my parents were reading the papers and they thought like it was like, oh, how come some of these spaces are closing? And I mean, I'm not familiar entirely with the details of why those things happened. It could be like my reasons, for example. Sorry, let me slow down a bit. It could be because of a lot of reasons that have happened that I'm not aware of. But at the end of the day, I think what I'm looking at is that there's also other spaces that are opening up at this moment, which is great. Even for like Starch itself, there's actually another space that's opened up nearby us. And actually they started earlier than us, but they just haven't really held a lot of exhibitions. So, but we're also finding ways as spaces together to build a community to start something together. So say for example, the other space called Supper House that is near Starch, which is about 3 minutes walk away. We have synced our exhibitions together so that we can, say for example, we open on the same day so that we can get more people to come in at the same time, since it's also quite far out, which is a nice thing. So one of the strategies we've adopted is like sort of meeting other spaces, finding out what to do together, what can we do as collaboratively, for example. And I think back to also sort of what you were asking about in terms of the situation, I think while on one hand, like some of these spaces with long histories have closed, on the other hand, I feel that then that means other people can step up to do it. Like other people can start to like provide space, provide expertise, for example, to work things out. And so that's something that I've also noticed where people started finding alternative places to do exhibitions. Like some of us also have found ways to provide and support. And I think that's what I guess at the end of the day, a very beautiful thing has happened. So I'm using that as a way to sort of like talk about how then when something maybe disappears, something else will come up. And I think that's the kind of hopeful energy I have for the like Singapore art scene at least. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Maurice. So I think in Taiwan, we are kind of luckily, due to this pandemic situation, only we have a few months, and the government CDC, raised the stage 2, stage 3. So at that time, it's kind of like soft lockdown, and people we still can go out, but just working at home remotely. Yeah, so far. And the gallery or museum just closed for I think only 2 months. Yeah, from May to July. Yeah, my memory is not really. Yeah. Anyhow, so due to that moment, I think that this pandemic for Taiwan art things, most the biggest impact that's for the performance art. Yeah. And because for the performance artists, actually, or theater or contemporary, they need to have a rehearsal and the performance, they can get payment. But for the visual artists, they can do their own work in their studio. Yeah, as long as this lockdown period is not too long. Yeah, and for the art space, of course, maybe the programs, should be like temporary to start it, but of course we should to shifting it to online or to the other way, to contact it or try to encourage the art societies. I think a lot of people they did very similar things and try to give us some kind of hope. Don't really to mess up or don't to give up. Trying to bring this kind of good energy or good perspective to our art society. And on the other hand, actually, in my personal opinions, I really agree with Nian-Ting or Jaxton, what you are mentioned. We can trying to find like a new audience, yeah, through the online virtual way. But on the other hand, other like old strategy or this audience, actually they might be feel like uncomfortable because they have kind of like digital gap, if I can say that. Yeah, because I think after these 2 years, we all know or we all learn a lot of new skill and shifting to different kind of app or applications and trying to different ways and try to improve this kind of experience to those new technologies or trying to bring this open the new fields to or other audience. So encourage to this time, and I think the NFT things Nian-Ting just mentioned, this actually get a lot of benefit from this pandemic. Actually, I believe every people knows that, but very few people they just say it on. Yeah, and also like Amazon's, or all kind of like shipping companies, actually they get a lot of benefits through it. So if we can like bring another soul and try to find the solutions and through those kind of global economic systems, and what as an artist or curator, what we can respond on it. I think this might be a new way, and a lot of people also mentioned, even though the pandemic finished or closed, yeah, in maybe in few months or in after 1 year, but the world wouldn't go back to normal. Actually, we are facing a new normal, and this way will be both, or how do I say, it will be conducted on both sides, yeah, physically and virtually, yeah, two way. So we have to have well done prepared to face this kind of things. So I believe in this 1 or 2 years or in the future, as an artist or curator, we have to prepare two kind of artwork. Yeah, one is for the virtual exhibition, and the other will be a physical exhibition, and we need to have two storybooks to base on that. Yeah, this is my personal opinion. Thank you.
Okay, let's come to the end. I would like to thank for our participants' hyper comments. So in the In this post-COVID world, we witness many things beyond our previous imagination. Like two curators had mentioned NFT and cyber cafe, also our everyday life, including working from home and being required to self-isolate, open up a new social distance. And Dakun and Moses had just mentioned even artists or art workers, art organizations, either facilitated by the rapid advance of online media, they have begun thinking about new forms of art that fit a different audience, media, or stage. I think that the pandemic has been a catalyst for artistic creation and innovation. So trying new things, adopting new approaches, many possibilities in the post-COVID era. I think just keep the faith, be positive. I was always be told that be positive. So I believe something good will happen now and future. Okay, we have come to the end of today's forum. So thank you all for making time in your busy schedules to join us here this evening. It's been our pleasure to host this event, and I wish you all a pleasant day. Thank you so much.
And I hope next time we can see each other face to face.
And you have to give me the stickers.
And remember, Dakun and I, we can visit Moses and Jaxton in Starch together. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.